Okay, folks, this is kind of redneck style. I've just got a few things written on a piece of cardboard with a Sharpie. I am in my woodshed because it's a little windy. So the 7 rules that I follow right up front when I am pruning my grapes is I look for any dead, dying, diseased, damaged, dipping. I look for distance, and I deadhead. Now, a dead branch, a dead vine looks like it's really, really light colored, almost the color of that cardboard there. And it's going to be brittle. It is not going to bend when you try to bend it a little bit to see if it's alive or dead. You can also take your fingernail or a knife and scrape the bark, the outside of the vine. And if it is brown, then it's dead. If it's green, if it shows green, and then it's alive. So anything that is dying, any weak vines, get pruned right out. Anything that's diseased gets pruned out. Anything that's damaged gets pruned out, whether it's storm damage or an insect gets in there. Let's see. Any dipping vines, I like any vine that is shooting, or any lateral, which is a vine growing off the main vine. That's a lateral, and that the berries and the grapes will grow on the first year vine. So that is brown. It's not a dark brown, it's a lighter brown, but it's a darker brown than a dead vine, if that makes any sense. I'll put pictures in here. So those get done. I like to prune anything that's standing right up. It's reaching for the sky. I'll prune that down to 2 or 3 nodes. If it is sticking out away from the trellis, I trim it off. And what I call dipping, if it's reaching toward the ground, if it's angling toward the ground, the branch is going to continue growing toward the ground, I cut those off. So any dipping plants get pruned. Any that's reaching for the sky, anything that is dipping, I cut right off. Anything that's reaching for the sky, I leave alone. Distance, any crossing vines. Now you can reroute them if you would like to. I have done that, or I have pruned them off. Any crossing vines will, when the new growth starts growing, it's going to create a lot of foliage, and you want air to get into your plant. So you got to have some distance. So anything that is crossing each other, either reroute it or prune it off. And deadhead, I just try to keep everything with the D's. It's easier to remember. Deadheading is basically cutting the end of the vine off, keeping it smaller. You don't want a 30-foot vine grow. Well, maybe you do if you've only got one. If you've only got one grapevine and you want it to go 30 feet, that's up to you. But remember, the furthest away from the root of the vine out, those grapes are going to be smaller, and they're not going to be as sweet. So there are the 7 Ds that basically make up the pruning process. That's what I do. Now, you can see over in a box on the right-hand side under dipping, that's my rule. Anything that's pointing out away from the vine, or anything that's pointing down, that's just my rule. Now, when in doubt, spur cut. Spur cut is if you have a vine that is growing right straight up from the main, if you have a lateral that's growing right straight up from the plant, cut that back 2 to 3 nodes, and each one of those nodes will grow another vine. Spur cuts are any upward branches. Let me pause this so I can move it down. Now, I'm not sure if the wind is going to cooperate or not. I had that cardboard braced up. So if you're not sure what kind of grapes you have, whether you have wine grapes or table grapes, because they're pruned a little bit different, according to some, this is what I do. And I have some Concord, a cousin to the Concord. I don't have actual Concord. I have a cousin to the Concord grape, and I don't know the name of it. If I dug down through the snow, I could certainly find out because it is marked. It is tagged. So when in doubt, do the spur cutting method, and it will turn out okay, folks. So when in doubt, spur cut. It's a really good idea when you are pruning your grapes to cut any tendrils that are choking the vine. Now, the tendrils are what comes from the plant that has little grippies that wrap themselves around a structure, so it gives the vine support as it's growing. Well, sometimes if there's another, especially if you have any crossing vines, the tendrils will wrap around another vine and it will start choking that vine, and it will do some damage to that vine, and you'll see some pictures here. Now, old growth is really dark brown. The newer growth is a lighter brown to a tan, and the dead is like the color of dead grass. It's that kind of tan. Like if you take hay and a stalk of hay, that color brown, that's usually, not always, but indicates a dead part of the plant. Now, do not cut the vines. I got geese. Do not cut the vines / laterals flush with the other vine. You got to at least leave a 1/4 inch away from the main vine. Now, I'm not an artist, folks, but I'm going to show you. As you can see right here, this is an example. Say this is the main vine and there's a lateral shoot that you want to cut. Okay? And if you cut the vine flush, like right here, if you cut it flush with the vine that it's coming off from, as it grows, as that main vine continues to grow, that it'll indent like that. And you've all seen trees that were cut flush. It looks like this, face on. It's kind of scarred. It's kind of formed some scar tissue. And then the end result will look like this. Bugs can get in there. Rain can get in there and freeze and thaw and freeze and thaw. Like I said, bugs can get in there and make a nest. And that's just not good. That's just not good. So do not prune flush to the vine. Now, what you do is where am I? If this is what you want to cut, you do not cut flush. What you do is you make your way, where's my finger? You make your way and leave at least a 1/4 inch of a little stub there. That will save your plant, folks.